Hello, I am excited because, first of all, this is Podcast-A-Thon's week, and that's where podcasters globally feature a nonprofit, an organization that's doing something that's impacting the community. And I'm talking to the director of Marvin's Home. That is just something that when I found about, I got so excited because what they do is they take our furniture or other household items and they actually help young adults get started on their new homes and their new apartments. So I can't wait to talk to the director, find out her mission, find out some of the things she can do, and also maybe find out how you can help them too. So make sure you just stay tuned for this week's Got Clutter, Get Organized, the conversation. Hello and welcome to Got Clutter, Get Organized, the conversation. I'm excited because, of course, this is part of Podcast-A-Thon, but I'm excited because as I was scrolling through the internet, I came across Marvin's Home, and I have the director here, Mel McDaniel, and I'm so excited for her to share, what she started about Marvin's Home, but also maybe how you can contribute to their mission as well. So, Mel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, really, what made you decide to start Marvin's Home?
So, there are three things that conspired for me to start Marvin's Home. And I would say the most fundamental one is that I was born and raised in a cult. And we valued obedience above all else. And we talked about family all the time. But our family did not existed only in an institutional setting. The family was the cult. And from a very young age, I just longed for home. And I know that word carries so much meaning, but in the way I'm using it, it's like a place of belonging. And that's just like one of my earliest longings, and it stayed with me my whole life. And then fast forward many, many years, I became an interior designer. And like almost immediately, Janet, I was like, oh my gosh, there is so much excess in this industry. I mean, that's a whole other podcast, but it is amazing and alarming. And your job is to help your clients, and they're replacing things that they no longer want or need, but could have like an entire new life and are in perfect condition. So that connected to the fact that my undergraduate was actually in social work. And I did not last in social work, but I did do a year of working in the foster care system. And I saw the teenagers, who don't get adopted and that they just bounced from home to home. So as you can see, there was kind of this, circular thing, and Marvin's Home, the idea is just almost was laid out by like my life situation.
Mm. And you're right. I mean, because as an organizer, I see it too. I see people that have all this stuff, and all of a sudden they're like, okay, Jen, I need to get rid of the clutter. But it may be clutter to you, but it could be a fresh start for somebody else.
Yes.
So I definitely can relate to that.
Yes.
So, what are the types of services and programs that you offer that really kind of help them on this new journey?
So our mission is it's very single-minded. Our mission is to create a home.
Hmm.
So what that means for us is that the youth that we are connected with have found a place to live from either being, aging out, often homelessness, very interconnected. And that can come about different ways. We're not involved in them procuring a place to live. It's a rental apartment. They're paying for it. I will tell you that they are not the nicest places, but they're also a beginning. And so when we meet them, I go in and meet with them, and we are in an empty space. What they own is the whole thing about foster kids and their bag of clothes. That is truth. They own a bag of clothes, maybe some random miscellaneous things. And here they are, which should be such a happy moment for them to have their own place. And they're sleeping on the floor often. There's no chair. There's no lamps. We are talking a very empty sad apartment. And so our job is to go in, and we have three goals, and we try to accomplish them on every install. It's to make a home that is comfortable, personal, and intentional. And comfortable is like the cozy factor, a bed, which you should see them when they see their bed. I mean, there's jumping on the bed often, and lamps. And then the personal is just that individual aspect. Like, we love printing out photos and putting them on the wall. And as a designer, I want them to, love their space. I want them to be happy in the colors and in all the things that make up home. And then the intentional part is what you will know all about, is just that organization, that just fundamental, trying to put in some organizational systems for them.
Mhm. So do you see any challenges with that in regards to, because they're coming with basically limited items, and then now all of a sudden they have things. Do you see any challenges with that?
Well, I think one of the things that happens is that when you're living in survival mode, and this is something that's a really big piece of the youth that we work with, is when you're living in survival mode, your all your energy is about the present moment. It is literally in, what is this day, the food. You have to strip life down to, they've been in survival mode for a long, long time. And organization is about the future.
Mm.
Organization is about imagining a future moment. Where are my keys? Do I have what I need in the pantry? And it's, for someone who's never lived in trauma, it's actually a hard concept to wrap your head around. And it's a very real functioning that when you are in that mode of getting through each day, organization is very like abstract. And they have not been exposed to it very much, because a lot of the homes that they've lived in have just not maybe had those systems in place. So we can only do so much, but we try to do like the key things, like a bowl for your keys, a little basket with the phone charger. And even for myself, when I saw how people lived in their homes, I like absorbed everything. Like, when I left and was living, I would go to friends' houses and I'd be like, oh my gosh, that's like how they do that. Because you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what you haven't been exposed to. And so I try to just put these little things in place that it's for them to then use as they need, and as it helps them.
Mm. And I can understand it when people, like, even with organizing and even with clients I work with, if they haven't seen it, they're not used to it. And it's really, like you said, it's developing those habits and those routines. And it's wonderful the way you're giving them small things that they can do. And then they can also build on them as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Are there any success stories that you would like to share? I mean, because this is all interesting to me, because once I saw it on the social media, I was like, yes, this is what is needed for all the stuff that people just throw out and they just don't know
Yes.
what to do with.
Janet, I mean, and I would say there's another key aspect to Marvin's home, which is like environmental, which is not throwing things away. Some things need to be thrown away. We can all agree on. But there are so many things that someone would consider clutter or junk that to another person is money. I mean, think about going to buy containers. Even if you're going to Walmart, you're spending a good amount of money. And so when we get baskets from people and containers and bins, my eyes light up, because I'm like, yes. Like, people think we need rugs. I mean, we need everything. But when I see any organizational supplies, I'm like, that will be used on the next install. Because, as you know, if you don't have a place for things, it is kind of clutter. But as soon as you have a place for things, life can become a little bit more manageable. And so it is just getting people to realize that just because they don't need it anymore,
Mm-hmm.
that does not make it obsolete in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It then can become, I mean, I've seen things travel, from clients. Then I work for the client's daughter. Then that daughter sends it to Marvin's home, and that thing does its job. It just gets passed on, which is really a beautiful thing, instead of being thrown away or left on the street to be rained on. I mean, I love that things get put on the street. When I lived in West Philly, things vanished before I got back to my apartment. But in so many places in the greater area, things are left out and it gets rained on, and then it's garbage instead of
Yeah.
being donated.
Yeah, that's my pet peeve too, Mel. It's like, do you look at the weather report?
You know, I know. Could you wait 2 days?
Yeah,
I
because
know. It's a we live in a society of just throwing things away. And so
yeah,
I don't think people even think about it, but if they did, it could change things.
yeah. Because I always tell people, just think of it as you're giving it a new home where somebody will love it and truly appreciate it. Because I had these lamps here that had been here for a while. I dusted them all. I
Thank
put a little sign outside on a good day, Mel. Now, put
you.
them outside, said free, and I'm like, I want you to go to a new home to somebody who may need lamps and maybe can't afford them. And like you said, you kind of wait a couple, maybe even 30 minutes. Next thing you know, they're gone.
Yep. I used
So,
to like to watch because I could watch from my porch. And
hmm
I'd watch people walk down the sidewalk and see it, and I'd see their excitement. And Janet, like I have done that. I
oh
have
yeah,
pieces in my home off the streets of Philly that I adore. And
yeah,
I'd slam on my brakes, and
yeah,
I couldn't believe it was left on the street. So it's not about that in itself is a beautiful thing, but there could be more intention about it happening more, it not being rained on, it being all collected. I see the things people throw out, and I just think of the Marvin's Home youth, and I'm like, they would use that for the next 10 years,
yeah,
and that's that they don't have cars to go buy things in. This
yeah.
stuff is all costs more than you even think about.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I always, when I'm walking, I'll take a picture of something and send it to a friend, and she's like, "Janet, grab it." I'm
Yeah,
like, "Not
grab
with
it.
these, not with these arms, because that thing is heavy."
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Exactly.
so how does the community support or partnership help you fulfill the mission?
Well, I mean, truthfully, like most nonprofits, we depend entirely on the community. I mean,
Hmm.
we depend on the community for donations, we depend for volunteers, and of course, we depend for financial support. Um, so the answer to that question is in every way.
Hmm.
We can't do it. Marvin's Home is run by people who care about this mission, who can imagine being 20 and never having a home, and who give, one day, it's not even the whole day, and you have done something extraordinary. And honestly, volunteers love doing installs, but we also need financial support. And that has been harder to come by than I've been so impressed by people who will show up, and it's a hard day's work, as anyone who has moved can attest. I mean, there can be sweat and tears and heavy things, but the job gets done, and it's an amazing accomplishment that makes an actual difference.
And I've seen your social media, and I just love it. I just get so touched when I see sometimes the before and after, and just their reaction when they come into a space, knowing, "Wow, this is mine. This is mine." So
Mhm.
my question for you, Mel, is what has been the most rewarding part of your journey with Marvin's?
I mean, I think there's one thing, I call it the pause, and you just alluded to it. It's when we say, like, we're inside and we say, come in, come in, and they open the door and they pass through that doorway, and there, Janet, every time there is a pause, and it's like their eyes are absorbing that you just said, like, this is mine, this is real, this is for me, this is a place of comfort and safety. And I love that moment. I love it. And sometimes there's silence, sometimes there's like squeals, sometimes there's tears, but I think that pause is loaded with significance of seeing something that you only dreamed of. And as
Mhm,
someone who also only ever dreamed of a home, that stays with you. You never take home for granted if you didn't have one. And
mhm.
seeing that happen, I'll never tire of that.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
and the other thing is probably the connection with the youth when I go meet them for the first time. That's like one of my favorite things. They're excited. They're kind of like, now they know about Marvin's Home. And so it's easier to be like explain things, and they've seen the social media. So now it's even more fun because there's anticipation, but I love connecting with them. I love getting out my measuring tape and measuring their windows, and because I want there's work that goes into making a home. And we interior designers wouldn't have jobs if all this was easy, but it's not easy. And it's such a fun moment to talk to them about what they want,
Mm-hmm.
what they
Mm-hmm.
need, the essentials, and then the things that make you feel good. I just love that.
Mm.
It's a special time that's like the precursor to the install.
I'm getting so excited for you. So I do have one, well, I have a final question, but as you were talking, so when people want to donate, because I'm assuming with the big items, you definitely want them to drop them off at your location, correct?
Hmm.
So what about, and I'm thinking small items because I have people in my life who are constantly changing their decor.
Hmm.
With, and I'm like, well, could they box it up and mail it to you? Because it's not, okay.
Yes.
All right.
So
That was,
I mean, I will tell you, Marvin's Home is like logistics, and
yeah. Mm-hmm.
it is a tricky business.
Mm-hmm.
My sister says life is logistics, and we're all kind of like, she's not wrong. And Marvin's Home is logistics to the fullest extent. It's like getting furniture from one place to the next. And right now, our warehouse is full,
Okay.
but we can always use the small things. Like you're saying, the pillows, the lamps, the art, the baskets. And one thing I suggest to people is that they act as like a little hub. And you're in Philly and you have people who drop things off to you, and you have a big bin or a big bag. And then I'm in the city, we meet up and you put it all in my car. Or if someone's going, we're in Lansdale.
Okay.
So there are people out in the suburbs who their neighbors drop off stuff to their garage and then they bring it. It's like this little mini networks, and all this little stuff is just as important as the furniture, because it's just, if you had a room with just furniture, it would look like a furniture store. It wouldn't look like a home. So all those little things we value so much.
See, now you got my wheels spinning here, Mel. I'm like, okay, I could become a hub. I could become a hub.
Everyone can do something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I'm always coming across the little things. So,
Yep.
Mel, how can people connect with you and make a financial donation, or even if they're in the Lansdowne area, maybe drop something off, or just to say, you know what, I think I want to become a hub. Let me find out about that as well.
Okay, so here are the ways. So number one, I would say, is financial support. On
Mm-hmm.
our website, marvinshome.org, is a pretty large donate button. If you click that button, it takes you straight to a site to donate. And, you know, one-time donations are great. We would love to increase our monthly support. It is a key aspect to knowing money that's coming in every month. And we all know the story. Like, if you give $10 a month and so does 10 other people, it all adds up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a painless way for those of us who have more to give without thinking about it, you know? And then there's following us on social media. We need to grow because we're small, and we're competing with all the big nonprofits. So we're on Facebook and Instagram. And it is amazing to me, the people we connect with who say, my neighbor shared on Facebook, and they make a big impact with Marvin's Home. And I'm like, bless that neighbor for sharing on Facebook, because we all know there's like the negative aspects of social media, but this can't be, we could never do what Facebook and Instagram do for us by people sharing. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the next thing, is just following and sharing. And then as for actual donations, Janet, like right now we're at the end of the year. We've done 110 installs to date. And we're just taking a moment because we really need to focus on financial support. We can still have people collecting donations. You can email info@marvinshome.org. And if you have something, if you have one thing to donate, we ask kindly that just goes somewhere else because we don't have the staff. But if you have a car full of things or you collected things with friends, you send an email to info@marvinshome.org and we will figure out the best way for us to get those donations.
So you've heard it, those watched and those listening, the several different ways. Of course, financial is number one on how you can make an impact on a young person's life. Well, Mel, thank you so much. This has been a wonderful conversation, and we might have to have a part two, especially about all the stuff people have in their house that they need to let go of.
Yep.
So
And pass it on. Let go
and
of
Pat,
and pass it on.
yeah, and pass it on because I saw a video which I'll have to kind of figure out how to share it with you. But it was just all the stuff that the grandparents leave, and then the kids get it, and then they're trying to figure out, okay, I've got 20 of these glasses which I really don't need. So
Yeah.
yes,
Mhm.
so we might have to do a part two. So Mel, thank you so much for your time today.
No. Okay. Bye.
Well, that was an awesome conversation I just had with Mel McDaniels of Marvin's Home. And I do hope you visit the website, follow them on social media. If you can contribute financially, please do so, specifically if you're not in the Pennsylvania area. And if you are in the Pennsylvania area, are you thinking about becoming a hub like I am? I've got a few items and I'm thinking that would be wonderful in somebody's home. Because a lot of times those kids are just not even thought about. They age out of foster care and they need someplace just like you and I. So I hope that you take this episode and you share it with everybody you know and let them know about Marvin's Home. So until next time, I want you to have a clutter-free day. I want you to click all the links below. Stay connected with me via social media. Order one of my ebooks. So you have a clutter-free week.